It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donavan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family, and welcome to another episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. I hope you're doing well. I hope things are coming along good and well for you. I always like to check in. I don't know if I checked in the past couple of days, but I'd like to check on you. I like to know that you're doing well, or at least you see the light at the end of the tunnel, because I'm telling you, it definitely is there. Um, so here we are. Here we are at the top of another week, and we are discussing health. We're talking about health, but I like to bring you guests to share their story. I've told you in the past, I believe everybody has a story, everybody has a journey. And I tend to think that there's just one thing or something that can be influential or helpful to the next person, when hearing about another person's journey. That's just me, but I know that you feel the same way because I've been reading your emails, and I appreciate that you agree with me too. But for those of you who are unaware of our email address and would like to send some emails to either Donovan or us, you can do so by emailing us at loveandlife@wordradio.com. That's WURD radio, of course. Loveandlife@wordradio.com. But I won't hold you too much longer because I want you to meet our guest. I want you to know exactly who he is. He's a friend of mine. He's a colleague of mine. I hate to say that in the same sentence, but it is. It's true. It's true. But he's such he's a beloved gentleman, musician, father, husband. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And he has accommodated us tonight in the midnight hour by agreeing to come and talk with us and share some of his story. Family, I would like for you to welcome Mark A. Walker. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Carol. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's so funny. I do this introduction. First of all, thank you. But I do this introduction and I tell everyone, this is my friend, who's coming to stop by and spend some time with us. And then all of you say, "Hi, Carol. How are you?" Like it's I promise you, family, that he does not greet me like that when I see him. He's like, "Girl, what have you been up to?" That's what he does when he sees me, like everybody. Like you, but you all
What's
know
up,
how we
Carol? How
do.
you doing, honey?
See, there we go. There we are. There we are. But you know what? It's all love. Either way, it's all love. But again, Mark, thank you. Thank you for obliging and accommodating. I know that well, first of all, I'm shocked and surprised that you're not on the road somewhere or something. So that's the first part about it. But I want our family members to know a little bit about everything and everybody on this show, on Love and Life. This is where we discuss everything and anything that pertains to love and life. And, we do so unapologetically, but without judgment, so we share. That's what we do here. We share and I tell everybody, we're all in this together. So that's the whole concept. And that's why we come together. So family, what I want you to know about Mark. Well, there's so much to know about Mark, but Mark is going to tell us a little bit more. What I want you to know is that Mark and I have shared stages. We've shared several stages, several stages. But, we've had conversations in the past about, what life on the road is like. And we've had those conversations with regard to home, with regard to life, with regard to family, and especially and particularly while we're here tonight talking about with regard to our health. A lot of people, they say, well, I mean, you're a musician. You travel the world. You get to You get to live it up. You get to live the glamorous life.
Wow,
But
okay.
okay, I know they tell you the same thing. I know they do,
Are you
but
kidding me?
you know they do. But they don't take into consideration sometimes that we too are human, and you know that we're not machines.
Not at all.
So what I would like you to do first, Mark, if you would not mind, is just tell our family members who are unfamiliar with you, who you are, and from where you come.
I'm a bass guitarist, uh, play gospel, jazz, um, R&B. Of course, I met Miss Carol Riddick. We traveled many years with Mr. Will Downing.
Mm.
Um, we share so many stories and actually a lot of great stories and memories we have together. Um, my gospel background is, my mother was a pastor at the church. Grew up as a young musician, self-taught, kind of, sort of. One of my good friends taught me how to play bass guitar. Uh, you move on years forward. I started playing with Yolanda Adams. Recorded with Richard Smallwood the last 25 years. Of course, the big Total Praise song everybody knows. And I was blessed to be a part of that recording. Still a part of
Mm.
Richard Smallwood and Vision. Still a part of Will Downing. Um, Spur of the moment in Washington D.C. One of my favorite bands I love playing with. Yeah, I'm just a musician. We can be here all day talking about my resume as far as a musician. Husband, father, uh, just a beloved friend to whoever I can be a friend to in this music field that we live in.
Mhm. Mhm.
I am very passionate about helping others, helping my friends, whether they have a deal or not, get started. That's still where my passion is. Still being a blessing to other people. I believe that's where my blessings are coming from just being that person. It's not always about
Mhm.
the money, but also just being passionate about being a blessing to other people. I think that pretty much sums me up as much as I can, in a short term of words. But uh, that's who I am. That's what I do.
No, I think you said a lot. That was a whole lot. You the way you just said that was like, well, that's it. But you did say a mouthful, let me tell you. But it's a good thing. It's really a good thing. Now, my first takeaway, Mark, let me tell you, in the years that I have known you, I did not know your mother was a pastor. See, this is what I'm talking about. I tell everybody, no matter how much we think we know somebody, family, you have heard me say it, I don't know how many times. No matter how much you think you know someone, you just don't. You just, you just don't. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So your mother was a pastor. Was she too? Or were your parents? Were they musicians?
No, no one was a musician. My mother sang. She was a
Okay.
singer, of course. My brother played guitar. Had a brother play guitar, uh, and my sister sang as well. So I want to say, as far as music is concerned, that was about it. I had an uncle that played bass guitar. I had an uncle that played drums. They were part of uh, my motivation in being a musician. So
Mm,
many people. You just have so many groups of people that you looked up to as a child. And I was very young
mm-hmm.
watching them play and perform. I was, maybe 5 or 6, 7 years old when I saw my uncles playing and performing. I had a god brother that played bass guitar. He was Joe Tyson. He was also an influence to me. Uh, so
Well, let
yeah,
me. Well, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
no,
to
no, no,
interrupt.
no. Go ahead.
So, did you say your uncle? He was a huge influence of you playing. Did he play professionally as well?
No, he did more local stuff in Washington
Mm-hmm.
D.C. Area. This is when I was living in Washington D.C. because I was born in Arlington, Virginia, and lived there for a few years. And while we were here, before we moved to Pennsylvania, we get a chance to go out and go to some of the old gospel quartet programs back in the day. I'm sure you know what that's about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I sure
So
do.
yeah, that was my first love in music growing up. So I got a chance to see him play Uncle Warren, and then a god brother named Joe Tyson who lived in Pennsylvania, where we actually moved in York, Pennsylvania. He was another person I looked up to, just as far as being inspired by.
What's so interesting to me about your statement about your uncle is that when I talk about my own upbringing, my uncle was so instrumental in my love of, well, two of my uncles actually were so instrumental in my love of music. Neither was a musician, but the main one that was that played such a huge part had a speakeasy.
Oh, wow.
And yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he was a construction worker, but he built the bar in the place where he and my aunt lived. And he had the walls of the bar were lined not with glasses, but with albums.
Oh, wow.
Albums. So I would sit on the floor in the corner and like just go through all of his albums when, of course, when he wasn't open for business. But but I find it necessary to say that in case some family members say, okay, wait a minute, what was going on with your family? So, family members, let me make you aware if you have just joined us. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we're talking with Mark Walker. Mark has made us aware that he is, since he was born, basically, he came out playing the bass guitar. That's what he said. That's what he said a moment ago. But in any event, he's talking with us about his life. And we're going to get into some things with regard to health. But right now, we're just skimming the surface. Hi there to our family members on our socials, because we know you're there too. We do know you're there. And although we cannot, chit chat with you right now at the moment, we will do so as soon as we get off the air. We'll say hi to you. But we want to give you some love right now. So hey there, family on our socials. So Mark, so your mother was a pastor. You said you had siblings. Your sister sang, but your brother played guitar. You
Yeah.
all, but none of you, like, you didn't form like a band or anything like that. You weren't interested in playing together.
No, no. You know how it is with family. I
Yeah.
did eventually. Me and my brother, the one that played guitar, and he did not play guitar in the group. He actually sang in the group. Uh, we formed a quartet group with two other uh, members, two other friends close to the family, Leonard and Rankins, and I want to say John Tyson,
Hmm.
Billy Meekins. But yeah, that was about it. It wasn't a family group.
So now, family, I want to make you aware because we are going to talk about health, but uh, I want to talk more about Mark's life and Mark as a musician and Mark on the road and leading up to when we were when you and I started talking about being health conscious. So when did you, well, no, this is the one question that I have. Did your mother approve of you becoming, like, working as a musician?
Well, she saw it coming. She
She,
always would tell me, I can see you. You're going to travel. You're going to play for many groups. So that was, in a nutshell, something of expectation. Uh, so she, prophesied that to me. That was definitely something that we could see. I was progressing a lot
mhm.
faster. Back then we didn't have video games, and
Yep.
so I was playing the bass guitar every day. I'm 12, 13 years old. When I come home from school doing my homework, it's just bass guitar for 4 or 5 hours a day. So I'm putting
Wow.
20 hours in a week, 25 hours in a week playing. So just learning songs. A song come on the radio, you pick it up, you play it.
Yep.
Like you,
Yep.
record in the house. I'm putting a record player on the spinner. Really telling them my age, and just repeating playing the songs over, 5, 10, 15, 20 times until you get it right. And
Well,
I was
that's what
that
we
kid. I
did.
was just so determined that I wanted to learn how to play. Uh, so I think, even the family, my siblings, even all my sisters, and my
Mhm.
brothers, they saw it. Everyone saw it. For
It,
sure.
family. Here we go again. What I should have made you aware is that Will Downing calls him Mark Lord have mercy Walker. Okay, I should have said that in the intro. I am remiss. I'm negligent because you should have known what to expect. But okay, you should have
I'm
known. You
supposed to
should have known.
remember that.
Yeah, you should have known. I should have remembered that because I heard it in it replays for me
Yeah,
when I see
yeah.
you. You are Mark Lord have mercy
Whatever.
Walker.
Yeah, that's my new stage name, I guess. Someone gave me a stage name, so that's it.
So, okay, so now how young did you begin playing the guitar? Did I miss that?
I was
I mean,
12.
bass, you were 12. Okay.
12, started at 12.
Wow. And so what's interesting to me about that too, because so you watched your uncle. You were enamored with family members and their gift
Yeah.
and love of music.
But even more importantly, it was so many other people. It wasn't just my uncle. You you just get caught up when you hear a musician play. You would just be captivated by musicians I didn't even know. I just
Mm-hmm.
know, we would go to different places, and in this case, it was the '70s. We're going to different churches and different conventions or conferences or even concerts, and you're just captivated by hearing everybody's style of music, how they
Mm-hmm.
attempted to play the bass or whatever the instrument is, and that ended up being, no, no, that just fueled the fire even more for me to learn and be a better musician.
I'm glad you said that because my next question was going to be how much of an influence did growing up in the church play with your decision to become a musician?
When we moved to Pennsylvania, and I wasn't around my uncles anymore after that,
Okay.
I would say my uncle Dave, the drummer, I saw him more than anybody else as far as family. Uh, he became more of a pushing me. I would say out of everybody, he's probably the one that pushed me the most as far as encouraging me to play because he thought the world of me. So it was just, Uncle David was the world for me.
Mm-hmm.
That made me realize, okay, there must be something because everybody's speaking good things, nice things to me. So that gave me the push to keep going. That's all I can
Mm-hmm.
say. I got a lot of encouragement coming through the years playing in church.
That's let's see, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, especially like I know. So for me, I grew up in the Catholic Church. It wasn't until my adult life that I was baptized. But even so, it wasn't. Coming up, a lot of people, mostly family, would say, "Well, I know you're not thinking about being a musician. I know that's that's not what you're thinking about doing, is it?" So if there were a few family members, like I mentioned, that were encouraging and were supportive, and that played such an integral part in my decision to follow my dream. But it really feels and sounds like you had a lot more support. There were a lot of family members and close friends that were supportive, and they probably saw what we all see, your talent, just your God, like your gift. They saw
Yeah,
your God-given talent, so that feels good to hear that you had a fabric of support.
yes. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's like, yeah. So let me ask you this: you started at 12, the bug bit you at 12, and you said, this is what I like. I like this a lot. I'm going to do this. So at what age did you begin to play professionally?
Uh, well, we had did some professional situations. I would say in my early 20s.
Mm,
I want to count my teenage years as professional because I still had to come home and still had to go to school.
that
uh,
doesn't mean anything.
yeah, yeah, but I was a
Yeah.
weekend warrior. That was the other thing. I look forward to playing every weekend pretty much as we can. But I would say for me, others would say earlier. I would say to be realistic, I would say around 22 years old, somewhere 22, 23, where I took
You-
it as professional, where I was playing with a full band of professionals. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, everybody in the band was professional musicians. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but
you you sound weird about
my opinion, I would say about 23 when I was playing with when the whole band was professionals. Yeah. So
it's funny you say that too. That you just made me think because I remember when I was signed to Motown, I was still working as a legal assistant. I was still going to work every day when I signed to Motown.
wow.
And when you were talking about still going home and still
Yeah.
working, I was still doing the same thing. But these are things that happen in the course of life. But I and that was because of fear. I was afraid to let go.
Yeah.
I was like, look, but getting back to you and your story. So you're talking about, you just shared with us about 22, you said, with what group or what band was this?
I was playing with Yolanda Adams.
Yolanda. We love
Yeah.
Yolanda. We love
Yeah.
Yolanda.
Yeah. I was playing with Yolanda.
Oh, first of all, I love her.
Yeah.
She's such a sweet spirit and
Yes,
a
she is.
sweet, yes. And my goodness, does she not love sports?
Yes.
She's a
Yes, she
sports
does.
fan. If you know Yolanda, you
Yeah.
know she loves sports. I'll never forget. We were both at an event, and we were at the table, and we both in our gowns and evening wear and heels, and And she said, I need to know what the score is. Neither one of us, she said, what does anybody know what the score is? Does anybody know what the score of the game is? And I think we were in London at the
Oh,
time.
wow.
We were in another country. It wasn't the United States. But she said, I need to know what the score is. I don't how can I find out? In any event, it's my
Yeah,
lasting
that sounds
story.
about right. That sounds about right. Yeah.
It made me laugh because we were both unaffected with everything going on around us, but she needed to know the score. So in any event, family members, if you have just tuned in, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM, and we are talking with Mark Walker. We're just walking down memory lane right now, but stay with us because we're going to talk about a few more things when we come back.
Word on Jobs.
A new year is here, and if you're searching for new career goals or a new job that fits your skill set, visit wordworks.com to view jobs and program opportunities, including Community Relations Coordinator for WHYY, Disability Services Director for NBME, and Policy Director for Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Visit WordWorks at word.com and find the career opportunity that's right for you. Brought to you by Pico and Livelihood at Word Radio.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
For the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet Food History and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. beginning January 2nd, 2022, exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We are talking with Mark A. Walker, I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. Mark, Lord have mercy, Walker.
Here we go.
And he is sharing with us his journey and what's to come. So before the break, I was asking Mark about his humble beginnings, as he put it. So he shared with us that his first professional gig was with Yolanda Adams as a bass player. How did that come about?
I was hanging out at Howard University. I didn't go to Howard University. I was hanging out at Howard University, and I met a gentleman by the name of Chris Dave, a drummer. Many know him from playing with the group Mint Condition. But Yolanda Adams, he also played with Yolanda. And Yolanda, I guess, had known him since he was a child back in Houston.
Nice.
And we were, I guess, we were just hanging out and playing or jamming or something together. And he asked me, he said he wanted me, would I want to play with Yolanda? I think it was maybe 3 or 4 songs somewhere. She had to do a mini concert somewhere. I think at Jericho Church or something like that. And I said, sure, why not? And I learned the music. Met the famous Raymond Angry, piano player. That was his boy. They were good friends. And we played with Yolanda. And she called me back to play again. And that was pretty much a wrap after that. Did that for a few years with Yolanda.
I love it. Ray Angry and his crazy self.
Yes.
Well, Chris is too, but so that had to have been a lot of fun. All of you together?
Yes, it was wonderful. We had a great time together. Yes.
Okay, one story. Can you share just one story with us? One story.
We are outside at the Washington Monument, and there's this event that goes on every year that they seem to do, and I can't recall what the name of the event was, but Yolanda had went into a different mode, and I think that was the day she turned around. I think she kind of gave us the approval that this was it, like this. And I could get the gigs wrong. It could have been the Monument or it could have been Constitution Hall, but she turned around and said, "This is it. This is my band. This is it." And it kind of like settled in because when you work for different artists, you always want to make sure they're happy and they're satisfied. You want to stick close to the record or the recordings that they've done, and sometimes that doesn't always happen. And that being an artist who travel and use different bands, that's just not. You can have one component that's good, but then the other components aren't. Complete, so it kind of makes the situation not good for everyone. But yeah, I think that for me that was a moment with Yolanda because she was you could see that she was ministering and she was really happy as well as ministering in God, and she was like, okay, yeah, this is it. I feel good about this situation. So that kind of for me, and I guess for the rest of the band members, it kind of like, oh, she liked what she hears, So that's my story. I don't have anything else other than that.
No, that was a great story because I can identify and I can relate with everything you just said. It's especially as a creative, as we both are, and as a person who likes to serve, as we both are. When you're working with another artist, like you said, you want to be a compliment. You want to compliment what they're doing, and you want to be a compliment to the message that they're sharing. So when you receive from that artist, that for lack of another way of saying it, approval, or that stamp,
Yeah.
that that means so much. It means so much, because it's just a comforting feeling, you
And for
know.
us, it was, you work hard. And we know, like I've always said, you're going to meet people, you're going to work with groups. You're not going to work for everyone forever.
Mhm,
But you just
mhm,
want to be able to say, yeah, I did this job correctly, and I'm on the right, path when it comes to learning people's music, learning the sets that they want and how to flow with them. Because that's just
mhm.
something that just isn't as easy as people think. You have a lot of great musicians who can play, but playing the music and flowing with the artist are two different things.
That's so
And
true.
it was so, yeah, and it was a good feeling to see that we flowed versus just played the music. Because, like I said, we've played the songs, 100 times, and we're correcting everything we did. But if it didn't have a move to it, if it didn't have a movement, or should say touch anybody, it was really for
Mhm.
nothing.
That's it right
Yeah,
there. If it didn't touch anybody.
yeah,
Well, so Mark, you and I haven't had this conversation, but I've had this particular conversation that I'm about to begin with so many people, because I tell them, like, although we have a gift that we're sharing, we're just the conduit. Like, it doesn't come
yeah,
from us. Our gift ministers to people, but it also ministers to us.
yes,
So, people say, wait, but you sing, like, you just do it. No, we don't just
yeah,
express our gifts. No, we don't. We don't,
yes, you're absolutely right.
so it's, that having that conversation with people sometimes it's challenging, but I'm in full agreement with everything that you were sharing. So it just feels so much better, because you're ministering, and when you are all on one accord and everybody is in receiving at the same time,
Yes,
that's euphoric.
yeah.
I find that to be euphoric. So do you still play with Yolanda?
Oh no, it's been years, since the '90s since I played with Yolanda. I'm not part of that.
Wait,
1995 is when I joined. I should say Richard Smallwood actually called me.
I was just
Be
about
a
to
part of
ask.
be part of the Vision, the group we put together, Vision, and of course, we went on and recorded the famous Total Praise song.
Mm,
That was 95, 90, yeah, 95, 96, and been with Richard ever since. Yeah,
I
Richard's
love
been
that.
that's been my group, Richard and Vision. Of course, I love Will Down. It's
Yes.
20 years with Will Downing right now, so that's my dude. Ain't no one ever can't tear me away. Will's gonna have to fire me twice. But yeah, Richard Smallwood and Vision, man, I have so much respect for the songwriting and everything that he does as a person, as well as just the musical aspects of things.
I overstand that too. I definitely overstand that. Well, you know what? Before we talk more about your journey with Richard Smallwood, I do have one question about Yolanda. Were you with her when she played when she did the Oprah Winfrey show? It was who was on it? I think it was India Ari, Jill, and Alicia Keys. As
Oh
one.
no, I was gone. I had been gone by then.
You've
Yeah,
been gone. Okay. I was going to say, I was with Jill at the time. And I was going to. I didn't. We were all so separate. We were separated. So I was gonna say, Mark, don't tell me that our paths crossed way back then. But
I did all the public television shows,
all the
PBT,
I hear that. I
those
hear that.
specials, the Christmas specials and Thanksgiving specials. I did all of those. Yeah.
Oh, but even that's a blessing. Even that's a blessing. So you say, about when was it that you began to play with Richard Smallwood?
He formed the group in '95. We recorded, I want to say January of '96, and then the recording came out somewhere in March or April of '96. So yeah, I've been in the group since he formed it in '95. So it's been a few years now.
95. Yeah, just a few. That's just a
It's
few
been
minutes.
yeah,
Just a few
just a few.
minutes. So how would you say, since wow, and you could actually really tell us some things about how things have changed from then until now. How would you say, in what ways have they changed the most?
As far as
Well, like working with, well, I should say, because that's a whole nother genre. Because you work with R&B with Will, but in the gospel arena with Richard Smallwood, how has that changed?
Well, without getting emails and stuff, I'll say that different styles of music. There are just different expectations from uh,
Mm-hmm.
genres of music. It's when people come to a gospel concert, it's almost like they expect this spiritual move. Because if it's not
Mm-hmm.
this spiritual move and everybody's not even just necessarily shouting and dancing, but there has to be this moment where they feel God. That's expected at a gospel concert, but then some of the other contemporary concerts you may go to, and I won't say the groups' names.
Mm-hmm.
The the expectation of what a God move is different. So there's almost like this pressure to do a show like performance in certain genres of gospel music versus gospel music. 'Cause gospel,
Mm-hmm.
you come to a Shirley Caesar, she's gonna bring it. She's old school, but she's gonna
Mm-hmm.
bring it. There's always this form of movement that happens. Well, it happens also uh, in contemporary. I don't even know where to put Richard at. I would never put him either or. I think he just has his own.
His own lane.
I'll just say he was always the beginner of praise and worship, as far as I'm concerned. His
Mm-hmm.
music. But yeah, the expectations are different, and I'll just leave it at that because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No,
people,
that says a lot.
people say things, and they don't want to offend
Mm-hmm.
anybody, but really it is. You go to a more contemporary type group, you want to hear the arrangements, you want to see the
Mm-hmm.
lights and all of that. It comes with it. And I'm not saying there's no move of God, because that would be a lie. Definitely, there are moves of God in every aspect of any gospel genre music you go to, but the expectations are different.
Mm-hmm. 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 That makes a lot of sense, though. That makes a lot of sense. And family, if you have just tuned in, you are listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. So we're talking with our guest, Mark Walker, who is sharing about his life and his journey. Um, so he was sharing with us that he's worked with Yolanda Adams. He continues to work with Richard Smallwood, and I'm going to continue that conversation because I have so many other questions. But what we all know is that here on Love and Life, we talk about everything. We talk about it unapologetically, but without judgment. We talk about everything because we all know that we're all in this together. And I don't know about you, but I know that I'm a work in progress. So it's always my hope that when we do have a conversation that one of us can learn something. Somebody can learn something, no matter what it is, somebody has a takeaway. You always have a takeaway, but we're hoping that it's always on the positive side. So I want to know all about total praise. I cannot. Okay. First of all, every time I hear that song, for me, it's like hearing it for the first time. And it hits me every single time I hear it. It moves me every single time I hear it. And I just have just like another overwhelming feeling every single time I hear that song. I want to know what it was like recording that, what it was like playing that.
Well, the rehearsal tapes, and I'm dating myself. There were rehearsal tapes of the group singing, and it was just Richard playing the piano, and the group was singing. I had went by one of the rehearsals. He was rehearsing at his home church, Metropolitan, at the time. That was his home church. Uh, I believe he's still there. Home, and he handed me a tape. He said, "Well, this is some of the songs," and I would take the tape. And mind you, I was still working with Gerald Albright and Layla Hathaway. They were still touring together. They were doing stuff
Mhm.
together. And I just finished I didn't know my last tour with the group Shy. So I was still traveling, but still dealing with some things. My life just wasn't where I wanted to be mentally, where I was. So I was still kind of mentally dealing with some things. But
Mhm.
those rehearsal tapes were getting me through. I'm like, wow, this is some powerful stuff. And that night in Atlanta, uh, I was like a deer in headlights. He didn't know how the people were going to receive him. He's presenting his group for the first time, because everybody knew the Smallwood singers, but
Mm.
not Vision. And so that whole night was just different for us. And that we came out the gate, we came out with Total Praise. I mean, that was the first song.
Mm. The
And so
first song.
The very first song, of course, Mervyn
Wait,
Ward. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I just stop you right there? Because I wouldn't have been any good. I would not have been present for the remainder of the concert if you opened it with that song, because it takes me. But before you continue your story, oh my goodness, family, stay with us because we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
What's up, y'all? It's Janae Latrice
and Kayla J. Be sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. for
Crosswords, sharing conversations across generations, right here on WURD.
Progressive Black Talk Media.
We'll see you there.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything isn't everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Hey, still shopping for the new year? Or did you receive a gift card for the holidays? Either way, Word Radio's got you covered. Visit wordradio.com and shop at the Word Virtual Marketplace. You can support local, small, Black-owned businesses through the marketplace and shop today. Visit wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we've been talking with Mark, Lord have mercy, Walker. He's been sharing his journey with us thus far. And he did say, he didn't want to receive any like bad emails. He said he's just telling his truth, telling his life. But we already know that you're not going to send any bad emails because we're not sharing anything that would warrant you to do so. But you can email us comments, questions, topics of suggestion or suggestions of topics, however you want to say that, whichever way you like. Or you could even just email us to say hi. You can say, hey, y'all. You can say hello. And you can do so by emailing love and life at wordradio.com. That's love and life at WURDradio.com. We love the emails that we have been receiving. And I'm saying that on behalf of myself and my alternating co-host, Donovan West, because he sends his love. He always does. But we've got some more things to talk with Mark about. And before the break, Mark was sharing with us the first time that Richard Smallwood shared total praise publicly. I believe, Mark, you said it was in Atlanta, right? A concert in Atlanta?
Yep, it was a live recording, our first recording.
Please finish, please.
Well, it was the first song of the night. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe now that we used to open concerts with total praise
Yeah. It's like,
and with other songs, but yeah.
I mean, and I don't mean that to say that, because I love his material. I love his discography, but total praise is it's the ultimate for me. It is the ultimate for me.
I think for all of us. It was a song, like he said, he was in a place where he wanted to write a pity song, but he knew it had to turn into a praise song. It had to be about giving God praise. And I think we were all, everybody's always dealing with something, whether you want to share it with someone or not. And I knew, and like I said before, the tape of the rehearsals kind of kept me going when I was on the road. I was still traveling with Gerald Albright and Layla Hathaway. Like I said, I finished the tour with Shy. And the next stage was to be a part of Vision. Didn't even know. I just thought I was going to do the recording. That was it. But then I guess it wasn't a mistake. He kept calling me back to play.
No,
but that night was it was already interesting because it was raining cats and dogs. You could hear the rain. Like it's like somebody standing over top of the cathedral, just like we're at Niagara Falls or somewhere. I mean, it was just pouring down. And I don't want to say everybody was on pins and needles, but I just know I was just aware of everything because, like, I want to make sure I play all the material right. I don't want to make no mistakes. This is my first time playing with these groups of musicians, even though I knew a few of them prior before the session. Stephen Ford, Jonathan DeBose, Tony Walker, Brian Pugh, Garfield Williams, Brian and Garfield are from Philly, so
Yes,
I know that's in your neck
yes.
of the woods, and they had me on bass, and yeah, it was that song. That whole night was just different, and I always often tell them that being in that group really changed me. It changed my
Mm.
perspective on church, changed my perspective on Christians, because I traveled uh, several rounds of different types of styles of music, and
Mhm.
you're around different people, you're around different
Mhm.
attitudes, and I hate to say you're around egos. And at that time, for me, a lot of the Christians were the worst people to be around
Mhm.
as far as traveling and stuff and touring. It was a letdown for me. So just being around them, and then the music that he was writing was hitting home. I was not just being ministered to; I enjoyed playing it. So it's nothing like, and I'm sure you can attest to this. It's nothing like singing a song or playing a song that you actually like.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
You can
there's a
feel connected to. So,
yes.
and I know some people when they hear musicians say that, it's like, well, they're paying you, and you still say, yeah, but this is different from a 9 to 5, because whatever you feel comes out in the music.
Yeah.
You can be smiling and all that, but if you're not feeling it, it's not gonna come out right. Normally, it doesn't. There's no life behind it, and I'll
Yeah.
leave that at that. And so I think that was another reason why it became so special, because everyone loved the music. Everyone loved Richard, and then we loved each other. So it just that whole night was just special, because you finally I'm finally on stage with a group of people where everybody generally loved and respected everybody. So I think that played a major role in the recording as well.
And that can be rare too. That can be, it can, as you know, well, and that's because let me be, let me just say it, because for those who don't know me, I'm not a spiteful person, and this is not coming from a place of shade. That is not my spirit. But I am honest, and there's truth in that. There's truth in that. We're creatives, so we deal with a lot of energy. We deal with a lot of emotions. We're expressing a lot of emotions, and in order for our audiences to emote, we have to be open. We have to feel what we're doing, or it just doesn't come across as intended. And when you're talking about different elements like egos, and you're talking about personalities that may clash or not mix well, that a lot of that comes into play. It does. So I see, like, whenever I hear total praise, whenever I play, because I play it all the time, whenever I play it, for me, it's a convergence of everything good and positive, because every single time, like I said, for me, it's like I've heard it. I'm hearing it for the first time. That's how it hits me.
Yeah.
And it humbles me. You know, it it
Yeah.
it 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 humbles me. So I have to. You just have to accept the blessing in that.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes. And like you, I'm not showing any shade to anybody else. Because like I said, Will Down is, that's that band and singers,
Oh
and
yes.
him, playing with Layla, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
Yolanda,
Mm.
sweetheart. I mean, I played with
Mm-hmm.
some wonderful people. Spur of the moment, they're my friends and brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to the Christian side, or with the God side of me, it was hard to connect with a group of people where everybody kind of like was on the same wavelength. Everybody was on
Right.
one accord, kind of like loving, and really, there's no shade. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it's only just rare. It was like made me realize, okay, yeah, I'm blessed to be a part of something like this, because I know we're not perfect, but everybody really loves each other and gets along with everybody. I mean, the bus trips, the flights, the trips overseas from Moret Brown. 'Cause she still
Mm.
says to this day,
Oh
she
my
says to the
goodness.
day that Richard would have to put her out the group, 'cause she's still a part of Vision. I mean, it's like that. It's that love. It's that kind of
Oh.
love that sits there. So
And we
that's
love Moret too.
oh yeah, Moret.
Oh my goodness, do it.
She's a sweetheart, and
Heavens to
everybody.
Murgatroyd. Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, but you
incredible
talking.
talent. Yes,
Yes, I was just about to say, but you're talking about some people who are anointed. You're talking about anointings right there, because that's at its core, that's what it is,
oh yeah,
and that has to be
24/7.
recognized. That has to be recognized.
Yes,
But yeah, I cannot. I cannot imagine. Like you said, first of all, listening to the tape was powerful. So how could it not be when all of you, after having sat with the music, after having absorbed the music, and this is just the music, not even the blessing in it, not even the message in it, not even what was intended to come from it. How could we, meaning those of us who, are the recipients of what you all did, how could we not feel it? And how could we not be affected? That alone, family, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to and you're watching Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at the end of our first hour, so we're just going to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Stand with WURD Radio, Pennsylvania's only Black-owned talk radio station. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support. Start or renew your WURD membership today at WURDradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
A lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me, but it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old, yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media. Lifting every voice
till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at the top of our second hour. I know it goes by so quickly. I hate that. But in any event, we are still here and we're happy that you are here with us. I think I did mention, I did in the first hour, but I'm going to say it again. You can always feel free to email us. Shoot us an email. Just say hi, or let us know if you have a comment or a question or anything of that nature. You can do so by emailing us at loveandlife@WURD Radio. That's love and life at wordradio.com. And I promise you, we do respond. And we love the love that you send to us. And we'll send some back. So we've been talking with Mark Walker. In the first hour, I was letting everyone know that Mark and I are friends. We are colleagues. We've shared many stages. And what I did not ask Mark to share with you, and I'm going to ask him to do this, not from a place of pretension, but because I want you to know that you too probably know Mark better than you think you do. But Mark, can you tell us, because you mentioned Layla Hathaway, you mentioned Gerald Albright, Shy, you mentioned Yolanda Adams and Richard Smallwood, and Spur of the Moment. Okay, your band Spur of the Moment. Huh. So with what other artists have you played?
Will Downing now. That's how I met
See,
you.
how about that? How
That's
about that?
Dude. Mr. Will Downing. Period. The story's over now.
That's it. It ends and begins with Will Downing. That's it. And we know and love Will. We love, as you know, you all have heard me talk. You all have seen me with Will. So I love him. We love Will Downing. So let me ask you this. I want to go back to you mentioning that you began a professional career in the industry working with Yolanda Adams. Do you feel that playing with Yolanda Adams helped to shape you as a musician?
Well, I won't even say as a musician. I'll be honest. I think Yolanda gave me more information on the business aspect of things.
Oh, nice.
The music side came natural.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not, saying that I didn't learn anything, but for me, being with Yolanda, it was the business side of things where a lot of people are just completely lost when they're going into things. Because I was actually about to sign a deal with a few. I had 2 offers on the table, and Yolanda kind of warned me not to do one with one because she had some previous experience with, or had information about one label. And she was saying, I don't think that'll be a good idea. You might want to read all the fine print because these guys aren't good at certain things. So it was just make sure you look at this, make sure you look at that. And after I start looking through details as far as what's being required of me and what they're really looking for, she was absolutely right. And it was like every time I see her, it's 20, almost 30 years later, I say, hey, thank you. Because I could have been one of those artists that signed a deal and just become bitter and have a bitter career. You know how it doesn't take long to get a bitter career from a bad record deal. And so if I'm gonna learn anything, that was I tell all the time when I see her, I say thank you.
That's a blessing.
That's because the business side, because music comes natural to a lot of us, and not we don't give credit to who's been in our lives, but the business side of things is something we just don't get that information not even
That's
from our
so
own
true.
artists.
Oh,
We'll watch our other artists just sign bad deals or get connected to the wrong thing, and we'll watch them suffer, knowing that you could have just said something simple
mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, you might want to reread that, or check these people out, or explore some other options," and we just don't get the information. So I value the knowledge that came from her
That
above all.
you just said a whole word right there, Mark. A whole word, and that speaks to the caliber of people with whom you've worked. That speaks volumes about her as an individual, because as as we're both sharing, the industry is not always such a nice place. And people don't always look out. They don't always look out. And what we always say, everybody says this, we say it all the time: misery loves company. So we know other people who have had an experience that you might
Yeah.
be, might about to be walking into. You might about to be walking. Did I say that? Might yeah. That's what I said. That's what I said. But in any event, yeah. So that was a huge blessing.
Yes.
That kudos to Yolanda. Kudos to Yolanda. Family, if you're joining us, you're just joining us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We've been talking with Mark, and I was telling you all that I wanted him to share, who he is as a musician, and a little bit about life being a musician with whom he's worked, just for points of information. I want to be clear, just for points of information, because that's not what we do here. There's no pretension here. We just share. We talk about life because that's what it is. And this is the life that he is living. And so the next question I have for you, because I want to shift gears from working with the artists, like with regard to home life. First, I know your baby girl, who's probably, Lord have mercy, every
16.
time. How old?
Yeah, my youngest is 16. Michaela's 16.
No, she's not.
And her brothers are 34, 33, and her sister's 31. It's just like she's an aunt when she's 16, like, huh? Yeah, you can't tell her anything. And she has a driver's permit, so
No, she doesn't.
yes.
Can she still be 10? Because I would like that.
Yeah, you.
I would.
I'll take 8. God, give me 8.
I promise you.
Give me
I
8.
think you were just telling me she just turned 8 or something like that. No, I can't be 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think a little teardrop just came out because
Yeah.
that hurt. That hurt a little bit. But okay, while I gather myself.
Oh yeah. She I know it's time to visit again. It's time to visit again for
Oh
sure.
my
Her
goodness.
brothers, Jerron, Jeremy, and Jasmine. Oh, they made her aunt, so she has
Okay.
3 nephews and a niece. So you can't tell her anything right now.
So I've missed a lot of life. I see.
Yes, you
I've
have.
missed a lot of
Yes,
life.
yes, you have.
Well, family, let me tell you this. Okay, so I used to always love Mark's stories because Mark and Kayla, oh my goodness, this baby girl, when you talk about a girl dad, Mark's picture should be in the dictionary next to girl dad, okay? Because these two, I don't know anything like it. I've never seen anything like it, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I want to share that because when I tell you there's no sun and moon without these two, they are the sun, the moon, and the stars together. So uh Mark would always come. We'd be at sound check and he would give us the update on the next story or whatever they were doing. He and Kayla were doing, or what they were about to do, or whatever plan they had. And I would say, well, where's mommy? No. This is about us. This is about us.
Yeah,
Poor
pretty
mommy.
much. Yeah, pretty much.
Poor mommy. But so how is your wife? How is Rhonda? How is she
Rhonda
doing?
is doing well. She's working hard. Nothing's changed. She's at Fortune 500 gear where she's just working every day.
I
You know
love
how
it.
it goes.
I love it. I
Can't
love
turn
it.
it off.
But so let me ask you this. Do you and Kayla still exclude her? Is it still?
Well, they've excluded me these last few years, so yeah, she's on
No.
the other foot now. So, but I'm good with it. I'm good
Okay.
with it. Yeah,
You're
I'm
all
very
right
good.
with it?
Very good with it. Yes.
So, I always wondered, because I never asked you this, because you and Kayla were so joined at the hip, so tight. How did she process you working and having to travel and being on the road?
Well, that was a good thing about, um, and you know what? And I think it's just all children. Even my older children, they did the same thing when they were younger. They don't really see you as that musician person. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Um, you're still dad.
Mhm.
And so no matter what I did when I came home, I was just always dad. And that was a change I needed, because you can get
Mm.
so deep into this thing, a lot of, and I'll say it, I won't say no names because I don't want to get no
Mhm.
emails. A lot of people live in the fantasy world that's just not realistic.
Mhm.
And so certain people's family lives, and I'm saying it like that because I want you to get what I'm saying, is that they're not really the parent at home. They're still kind of like still wearing the star, the entertainer.
I got you.
And you have to be dad. You have to be mom. You know,
Mhm.
she sees me that I cook dinner. She sees that I wash clothes. She sees I take the trash out. She sees I make the beds. She sees that I'll do all the things that normal dads do.
Mhm.
And it's not a checklist. It's like, yeah, what do you need to do? I'll stop learning music. I'll stop recording. What do you want to do? Do we need to go watch TV? Do we need to do things? And this was important because it still gave her a normal uh, upbringing.
Mhm.
Not like my
Mhm.
older children where they just really just saw me and I was writing checks and I take them to, amusement park, take them to the movies. And
Sure.
I say that for a reason because, I was a father, but I wasn't a father where, you write checks and, they know who you
Mhm.
are, you call them. But to do more because you can get caught up in this music world and think that that's all it is, and it's not. It's
Mhm.
part of my personality. So, of course, you got to do what you got to do. But look at you, Carol. You're doing something else outside of the realms of singing versus recording all day and all of that. So you give yourself a balanced life, but you also are in touch with life again.
Mhm.
Because if you're just,
Mhm.
screaming fans and everybody wants your autographs, that's just not realistic.
Mm-mm.
And
It's
so,
not at all.
and so the family life for me, when I finally got married, because of my first three children, it was we were living girlfriend boyfriend situation.
Mhm.
But when I finally got married and I had to be there every day and I had to come home, even when I was on tour and I come be gone for a week or two, I still had to be there. I had to, wash her uniforms, on her
Mhm.
clothes, and do the things that dads do. So that's why it was a good change for me.
I love that. I love that story. I love that. Oh my goodness. It's just so much. So much. So one question I did not ask you, because we were talking about the genres in which you've worked, and I'm jumping all over because I want to this I find that this is something I want to know, and I find that it's important. When did you begin working in R&B? Because you started working in gospel music. When did you switch to R&B? Or I shouldn't say switch because you were still working
Mhm.
both. But when did you begin or add
Well, you
R&B?
know what? I toured with Shy
Okay.
'93.
Mhm.
Um, the call was made in '92. Like I said, I met Chris Dave through Yolanda. He hooked me
Mhm.
up with Yolanda Adams, and Chris Dave actually put the band together for Shy. He was supposed to play drums, but then Mint Condition went back out, so Gordon Campbell played. Raymond Angry played
Mhm.
keys. Kevin Levi, Myron
Wow.
McKinley, who was I want to say he was in Bo's MD, but then he left, and I brought in uh, Scooter Leroy Taylor from the area to play, and we were the band for Shy. So that '93 was my first time really playing R&B.
Mhm.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? I never
Okay.
had played. I did maybe one or two concerts, filling in playing for somebody, but I never really did R&B like that. I could play the music, but never really, did it live performances other than
Okay.
rehearsals and stuff. But so that was really my first time really being out uh, and really touring and playing was with Shy.
I was curious about that. I was really I said, let me ask him this because, I know, and I remember from being on the road because you still play at church. And
Hmm.
you would say, listen, I got to catch this flight because I got to I got to go to service, which let me tell you, Mark, I've never said this to you, but I commend you. That is you're such an inspiration for that. If no other reason, that alone, because of your faith and because of your praise. And I appreciate that about you. But I've always, 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 always appreciated that particular thing about you. I said, Mark doesn't play about church. Now, you will not see him.
Well,
Okay.
and it was a concept behind it. Everybody said, well, of course I love God, and I do my best to be a Christian or treat people the way I want to be treated. But I always feel like, well, how did we get to where we got to? Where were you dedicated at first?
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
think for it to
mm-hmm,
continue on, you had to still do the things that you've done before in the past for it
mm-hmm.
to become better for you. It was a conversation I had because I toured with Kenny Lattimore too. Right
Kenny.
after strange, right after the Total Praise record, I went out with Kenny because me and Kenny had been longtime friends. We had been in a gospel group together in the DC area.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out with him, and of course, Kenny is an incredible singer, can sing anything he wants to.
My goodness.
But the conversation was, and I just want to just paraphrase it, we just never forgot where we came from.
You better not.
Just never forget. And it's like, I'm gonna play any style of music that, the doors open that God gives me. But I'll never forget where I came from. Of course I can't be in church every Sunday. And sometimes it's good. And I know people are like, what do you mean it's good? Sometimes it's good for you to realize how important it really is for you to go back to it, because you don't never miss anything unless you're not there anymore, unless
Yep.
you miss it. And you can
Yep.
take things for granted, even just going to church every Sunday. People take it for granted, but when you've missed it, and I remember being out one part of the tour with Shy, we were gone for about maybe 3 months, 23 and
Mm-hmm.
a half months. And I've been to church and I've been around nobody but the guys. And I realized I was missing something. Like, you know what? I just need to go sit in a church service. I need to hear something positive spoken
Mm-hmm.
over the pulpit. Somebody needs to speak something, into my life because, I haven't gotten it. So
Mm-hmm.
I had another love for it afterwards because I kind of like missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not
Mm-hmm.
have missed it if I would taking it for granted if I'm there every Sunday, 100 weeks in a row.
How about
So,
that?
but that's all of it played into who I am today.
I love it. I love that. I'm shifting again. Oh,
Please.
so I want to begin talking about your health challenges. I intended to start earlier, but I really wanted everyone to hear more about, your life as a working, touring musician, because, that is what you continue to do. And although we see you, I'm glad to have this up close and personal time with you to share that too. So they see you in this light as well. But you and I, we had brief conversations about some health challenges that
Mhm.
you were having.
Well,
Would you?
I'm gonna go right there.
Yeah, please, please, please.
Well, the week of the session that we did caregiver
Mm-hmm,
song, and I wasn't
mm-hmm.
able to make that session because I was in the hospital. Well, we found out that I had a stroke, um, and that wasn't the first stroke. I had one actually 2 months prior on the ship. We thought it was dehydration, and I passed out. And just know that I was having problems with my left hand, and we thought it was dehydration. I thought nothing of it, and it was a little bit denial because it can't be stroke. I can't have a stroke. That was just
Mm-hmm.
the way my thought process was. And I came out of the hospital. I think shortly after the session. I think it was a couple of days after y'all did the session, and went back in the hospital again. Had another one a week later. And long story short, I had not been taking care of myself. I had internal bleeding. Uh, not going to the hospital regularly. You know how men
Mm-hmm.
are. I ain't gonna say musicians. Men, we hate going to the doctors. We hate going to the. We just gonna fight out. Whatever this I'm dealing with is just gonna go away. Well, it didn't go away, and it kind of set me back where I kind of had to, as they say, sit my behind down and heal. So when the pandemic actually hit, it kind of saved me because I needed to stay home and rest. That was
Mm-hmm.
part of my healing because I couldn't stop. I just want to work.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to deal with health challenges or even sometimes even life. And that's the other way about another thing about being a musician and you travel. You escape your problems just traveling and doing a
Yeah.
road and doing concerts. You don't face the things you need to face, whether it's yourself or your health challenges or just checking up on you. I just never did. I did a poor job of taking care of me. And
Mm-hmm.
so after those strokes, it made me realize, and the pandemic made me realize, I need to refocus. I need to something goes wrong, I need to tell the doctor. I was afraid to tell the doctor the things that were going on with me. I had no idea that, the headaches and the dizziness was still due to, well, this is what happened, Mr. Walker. You've had several strokes and your balance is going to be off. And certain things you may not do the way you used to. You can't move quickly. You can't, do
Mhm.
like you used to do. And it
Mhm.
was still a denial for me. I mean, I was in deep denial about it, and I can talk about me to where I was still able to drive a car. And one day I was driving and it felt like at the light, it felt like the car was moving sideways. I'm like, I'm at the stoplight. Well, I just feel like I'm going like, no, let me pull over. Yeah, we need to address that. And yeah, and I've I'm not out the woods completely, but things are definitely much better.
Mhm.
I don't care what it is. If I feel uh anything wrong with me, I'm calling the doctor for
I
everything. Yeah, what it is.
listen. I'm
And
with you, and I want to interrupt you for just one moment. I hate having to do so, but we need to take a break really quickly. I want to continue the story, if you don't mind,
yes.
when we come back. Family, stay with us.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka the Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things could never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And hey there, family members on our socials. We know you're there too. We know you are there hanging out with us, and we appreciate you doing so late in the midnight hour. We've been talking with Mark Walker. And Mark has been sharing with us his journey. We talked thus far, well, in the first hour, we talked mostly about his career and how it began, how it started, and how it's going. And just before we went to the break, Mark shared that a song on which we worked, he, I, and Big Dog, Chris Davis,
Yes.
was called Caregiver by none other than Keisha Jackson.
Yes.
I love Keisha. Hi, Keisha. We were all scheduled to work on this song together, me, Big Dog, and Mark. And Mark, I don't know that I knew until just now that you were in the hospital then, because I knew you weren't there, but I thought it was, you just couldn't make it. I don't. And now to know that you're sharing that you had a stroke.
Yes. Yep. And once again, we were still, when I got out of the hospital the first time, they were still looking at it because the way the brain, I guess the MRI showed that it could have been MS, it could have been a few other things they wanted to narrow down and make sure they gave me the proper information. So I went home a couple of days later, and a couple of days later, wasn't even a week, I had the same episode again, and they confirmed, yeah, it was a stroke again. But I think, praise God, things could have been worse. I was still able to play my instrument because, mentally I wasn't even there, not even knowing. They still didn't want to tell me the second time. They said, well, we'll get back to you. Go home, rest, this. We'll give you the information. And so I went home. I didn't really take it easy like I should have. I'm still playing the guitar. I still want to know I could play. But I knew something wasn't right. My hands wasn't, it wasn't me playing, it just felt like somebody else was playing the guitar, not me. But when I got the news, and it kind of still had to go into denial, like, nah, I couldn't have been that. Maybe it's something else. Oh, I'll get a second opinion. But yeah, the second neurologist said the same thing. Yes, Mr. Walker, you've had several strokes. So it put me in a different place. So even when I did caregivers, and of course I didn't do the session with you guys. I did it here in my house, I should say. Actually, Kenny Allen's house, when I did this session. It just made me refocus on, okay, I got to take care of myself. I really got to. It's strange that I'm actually recording a song about caregivers, and I need to start caring for myself because I've neglected myself, and I knew that, and I knew I never, not just going to the hospital or going to the doctors to do the checkups. I got to the point where my eating habits weren't correctly. I wasn't eating. I wouldn't eat breakfast. I would snack all day, maybe eat salad, and so I wasn't eating proper meals to get my body the proper nutrients that it needed, and realized, I wasn't drinking enough water. Uh, and then the pandemic hit, and things just got worse. I didn't take care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
and so things just this whole pandemic made me realize I had to refocus and finally start taking care of me. That's just something I never really looked at. Always looked at, I got to get up and work. I got to make this money. Got to pay these bills. Got to pay this mortgage. Um, don't want to be behind, and then the pandemic is just, you thinking it's going to go away. It's not going away. So you got to find
Right.
other things to do outside of music to make things meet, ends meet.
Mm-hmm. 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 And that's a whole nother word. But so yes. So at what point did you finally decide to go to see a neurologist?
Well, it was one in the hospital, and I'm not saying they're not always the greatest ones in the hospital, but he was just a little nonchalant when he told me. He said, "Looks like it could be, but we're not sure." That was kind of like the first diagnosis, and then I kind of fired all my doctors,
Mm-hmm.
and said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to get all female doctors. All my doctors were male. Like, I'm gonna get all female doctors. They seem to be a little more accurate, and I don't want to say she's Asian, but she just sat down with me and she went through the MRI. She said, "This is what this shows. This is what it says." She said, "Mr. Walker, you had a mild stroke. They call it watershed stroke, TIA, something to that degree. I forgot the terminology right now. I'm having a senior moment. But long story short, yeah, it was. And I realized right then and there when she told me, you got to start doing things a little slower. You got to start taking time and for yourself, and you need to not wear yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't be in stressful situation. And in our musical world, that's sometimes
Oh.
it's impossible because you're always on the go. You're always looking for the next situation that's going to, help keep
Mm-hmm.
you going, as well as promote, not just money wise, but just even keeping you.
It feeds a
Yeah,
need. Yeah, it definitely feeds a need. You're so right. We have, as creatives, we have a lot of anxiety because of that. It just, and you just don't. It's because you don't know. It's because of the unknown. We have that anxiety, like when the next gig. And again, like you said, it's not financial. It's not always financial, because for some it is, but it's not always that. At its core, we, again, because it's spirit and we're ministered to when we're sharing our gifts, you miss that too. You feel that need, and you have that strong desire to get back out there and do what it is that you've been blessed and able to do, but that feeds you.
yeah.
So at its core, so in what ways, or how did having these strokes, I can't even believe I'm saying, affect life for you at home and on the road?
Um, it just made me go back and think. Even it just because the strokes and the pandemic kind of came together for me. It just
Mm-hmm.
made me refocus on doing what's more important for me and my family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, not accepting all the engagements.
Mm-hmm.
Not working harder like I used to. Just not going all the time. And it's hard. From time to time I got to catch myself and pull myself back, because it was just something that I've just always done. Musically,
Yeah.
because you just don't want to get behind the eight ball. Uh, it did make me refocus on, okay, what's important. Spending a little more time with your family, even though the pandemic was just. I can speak freely. They're probably not going to see this anyway. It was getting on my nerves. I've been around these people in my house all day. I did find something else to do. Get me out this house, God. Um,
Oh my God. There's Mark.
they're not gonna
There
see
he
this.
is.
I'm being me now. They ain't gonna see this anyway.
There's
It gets
Mark.
on my nerves. I don't like them no more.
I know. I think
God, you say
everybody
you love
had that
me, but
moment.
you ain't acting like it right now. Hey, I started doing Amazon groceries, Prime, in my car. Where you going? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, they start at 4:30.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like Uber, and that's what I love about it. It's like Uber. You can work whenever you want to. I can after this show is over with. If there's a
Yes.
block open, I can go do it and make a couple of dollars. But the main thing was just get out of the house. And so, no, I mean, I do. I mean, you love your family, but
Everybody, listen, you're not saying
there are
anything
limits.
that anybody
There are
should be.
limits. And some of my professional friends say, "Mark, I can't say the things you say." Yeah, there are limits for everybody, but yeah, there are limits.
Oh my God, family! If you have just tuned in, let me breathe. Family, if you've just tuned in, you are listening to and are watching Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. So I am talking about This is Mark. This is Mark because when I tell you he would have us in stitches on the road, he would have us in stitches. But the truth is, like he said, he would say things that all of us were thinking or feeling at some point or in time. There's so much truth to that. I promise you, somebody else is going to say, "Lord, well, he was only saying what I was thinking." Because when the pandemic hit, I was thinking, "Don't y'all have somewhere to go? Don't y'all want to walk around the block or something?" I'm sure there were a lot of family members that were looking at their other family members saying, "Wow, huh? I don't think we've ever spent this much time together." So so I mean, I was my fur child. You all know Chloe. I talk about Chloe all the time. She's my assistant. Well, we both now have separation anxiety from each other, which, as crazy as that sounds, I don't want to leave her and she doesn't want to leave me because we spend so much time together in the pandemic. But there you have it. We're all living these COVID compromised lives now, and we have these new experiences. But for you, oh my goodness. Okay, when did you begin having the mini stroke or the stroke? Was it mini strokes first or
Yeah, they call them
what's
mini
the
strokes.
so they're mini strokes?
Mini strokes.
What's the difference, Mark? Please
Well,
forgive my
I think from what I was told, um, they're just a smaller version of what the big strokes are. Because a lot of people from the left side are numb. But I did feel like my hands were numb, my arm was kind of numb, and it's like when the for me, it's like when the blood circulation just cut off your left arm. For me, my whole left arm, but you can still move your fingers, but you still
Mhm.
can't really feel. But you have
Mm.
to have some coordination with it. That was more or less. I'm speaking in blue collar terms. That's more or less what I was dealing with, as well as the balance because I couldn't stand up, without feeling like I'm about to fall.
Okay.
My
So your
balance
equilibrium. Okay.
was completely, I almost say completely gone, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, it definitely wasn't normal. But and then I had other side effects, the headaches, and yeah, that I would say that's about it for me.
So do you do like exercises or anything? Or
Well, they have these. I haven't been doing them consistently, but they have these exercises I'm supposed to be
Mark,
doing.
wait.
I'll be honest with you, no. But no, it was that, but mine was from eternal bleeding. I didn't have enough blood in me. I think a blood count was at 6.2. Like I had internal bleeding. I'm back to 15, 16 now, but I was at
Okay.
6.2 at the time. Should have had half the blood, and then the left side of the brain, because of where I was laying or something, I passed out because I passed out, and left side of the brain didn't get blood for a split second. So there was a slight brain lesion on the left side of the brain, and they showed
Okay.
me that, um, and then I had all other little complications I won't talk about, but they were
Mhm.
making sure the cerebral veins weren't clogged because it was signs of it being clogged. So it was a few things that would just add up. Like you look at the engine of a car, just more than just oil.
Right.
There's a few things that are just going on that just contribute to what the stroke did. And then once again, I was dehydrated. I wasn't drinking properly. And I
Right.
never did. I never really drank. And as much as I love water, I just wasn't drinking enough in a day.
You did. Well, that just sounded like a red flag for me because I don't drink enough water.
Yeah.
So that right there, that statement right there, I think you said that for me.
Yeah.
I don't know that you said that for anybody else, but I'm sure you did. But it definitely was for me because I don't, and because it's been in the forefront of my brain that I need to do so. But you,
And the stress factor, was the hidden thing, because I just, we block out stress. We block out
Mhm.
entertainers and musicians. We block out stress because we use our music to block that out. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was very stressful. I was dealing with a whole bunch of just craziness stuff that you just don't want to talk about.
So
But
what do you do now to navigate or to manage, like, stress and to try to keep stress levels down? What do you do now? I mean, because life, that's just life.
well,
We're
you've been
always.
knowing me for a long time,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I've just kicked him over to even more to the other side. I just don't care anymore. I just let stuff go. I can't. if it's dealing with me, I just let it go. If I'm dealing with family members, people close to my heart, I can't deal with them. I was instructed by a close friend to me, and she said something to me. A friend of mine, actually two friends, said this to me. It's like, you're no good to anybody if you're dead. And it just hit home. It's just the way they said it. I was like, you know what? I got to let this go. And I know a lot of people deal with stress. They deal with things they don't want to talk about, and I'm sure the listeners right now, somebody's dealing with something. You're no use to any of your good friends or your family's dead. So some of the things you just got to let go, because some people aren't going to change certain situations. As long as they know they can still rattle your cage, they'll keep doing the same things over. So I just really, I kind of like went, not in hiding, I just avoided people. Certain phone calls, I just stopped answering. Certain emails, I don't address things anymore. It's like, this is about my health.
Wow.
And if you bring in stress, I just had to let it go. And it really was a hard decision, because I know sometimes people say you can just be cold-blooded because of what you say. But I say things because, if you ask me, I want to give you my honest answer. And the greatest thing for me to do was just let things go. And it's like, it really isn't hard. You really have to fight your own ego, because you're thinking you're helping. And actually, the best way to help people who are needy is to let them go, so they can learn to do things differently. Because we all have to learn every day to do things differently. No matter where you are in life, we've all learned to do things differently. To survive. And unfortunately, letting go bad, toxic situations, whether it's coming from loved ones, family members, I don't care if they are blood. If it's killing you and they ain't helping you, they ain't no good to you. And you just gotta let it go. You ain't gotta have no closure conversation. We need to sit down and talk. No, I just don't answer the phone. I stop answering emails. I just stop. I say, because it's going to be on my terms. Everything is on my terms now. Unless God says do, or I get this, unction to do something. No, it's on my terms. I'm not having a conversation with you. You're stressful. You know what you do. You're messy, or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
And so you gotta do things. This pandemic taught me that. I mean, it's like, because it's not going away.
I have to say, I agree with you wholeheartedly with that. The pandemic. You know what? We're going to take a break really quickly, because I want to continue this, and I don't want it to be interrupted. So we're going to take a commercial break. Family, stay with us, because we'll be right back.
Word on Jobs. A new year is here, and if you're searching for new career goals or a new job that fits your skill set, visit wordworks.com to view jobs and program opportunities, including Community Relations Coordinator for WHYY, Disability Services Director for NBME, and Policy Director for Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Visit WordWorks at word.com and find the career opportunity that's right for you. Brought to you by Pico and Livelihood at Word Radio.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
Hey family, I'm Carol Riddick.
And I'm Donavan S. And we're the hosts of Love and Life, a new show about,
well, love and life.
This show is an informative, entertaining, and refreshing take on the hard conversations about love and life.
Each day, we'll provide real facts and honest opinions on dating, sexual health, casual, and committed relationships.
These late night conversations will be served on a judgment-free platter and seasoned with unapologetic realness.
So join us Sunday night through Thursday night at midnight on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And, well, we've been talking, okay? We've been talking with our guest, Mark Walker. For those of you who are unfamiliar, you've seen him. You've seen him on so many stages. You've seen him on television. You've seen him all over playing bass with so many artists that you know and love. You've watched him play music that you are in love with. And if you are like I am, you know, you worship to total praise and you hear him playing that as well. So you know Mark. But before the break, we were talking about basically during your recovery process from having strokes, many strokes. And you said something so prolific. You said, I got to let it go. I let it go. Whatever I asked you about how you manage your stress levels and how you're able to maintain, because quite honestly, I need to know, because I'm that person who will anxiety is like a gnat at a cookout for me, so listen.
An analogy. Wow.
Listen. So I was all ears, like, what do wanting to know what you do. And you said, I have to let it go. And that has been one of the biggest challenges for me. But I will say this, I tell everybody within earshot, the pandemic, it taught me so much about appreciating the still. That's what I refer to it as, the still. And what I was hearing you say was basically the same thing, because it wasn't until the still, like I always say, I'm the hamster on the wheel. And before the pandemic, I was the one hamster on two wheels. That's how I felt. Like, well, because, as a creative, I think that's what we are. That's what we do. Our brains don't know how to quiet. Our brains don't know how to shut down. I know they don't turn off, praise God, but they don't shut down, and we don't always either know how to do so, or for some people that we know find other ways to navigate that just aren't as good
Yeah.
or the best way. And I don't know how to just turn off sometimes, but I'm telling you, Mark, after this conversation, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to investigate some ways to help me to shut down and
Please
turn
do.
off. Yeah. Well, I will say this. You know what? No. I will say this because I've gotten more into my candles. I even have some candles. I have a line, but I've gotten more into my candles. I've gotten more into my meditation music. I'm beginning that. I'm beginning to meditate, and that is helping me to calm down, and to flick that little gnat
Yeah.
at the cookout and to flick it. So, but let me ask you this. So, in what ways did your family contribute to helping you to recover?
Um, it was more or less the phone calls of the checkups, and making sure because the
Mhm.
few that did know because I didn't make it public. I didn't tell everybody
Mhm.
what I was dealing with. Not even at church. Only a few people knew.
Mm.
And even some of the musical aspect thing, my musical world, a lot of them didn't know. I didn't want everybody to know. I didn't want people to I didn't want the attention.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And I was still trying to grasp that it really happened. Like I said, I was in a deep denial about it.
Yeah.
So and it could have been a little pride there as well, but uh I really the family really was just, hey Mark, just take it easy this week. Don't do nothing this week. What's going on? If
Mhm.
you don't have to do it, don't do it. And it was just be constant calls like that, and for me to stop the calls because I hate to be getting calls like that. Say, hey, I'm gonna be home all week. I'm gonna text you. I'm in the house. Don't call me no more today. I'm not going anywhere. But no, it helped reset me because now I started realizing that I was valuable to my surroundings, other than
Mhm.
musical world. Because you become a musician, you're only really dealing with folks who want to use your talent or who you
Yes.
work with. And
Yes.
it's a good and bad thing because sometimes some people only call you because they want something from you. And after
Yep.
years and years of that, we become numb to it, but it still contributes to the stress because when you see the phone call, it's something. Hey, how you doing, Carol? It's so good to see you. Do you have such and such number? Can you put this thing together? You already know it's work. So
Mhm. Mhm.
these are things that we suppress in our head. And yeah, I had to learn to reset and start thinking more of me, and the family helped. The calls, even my children calls like, hey dad, how you doing? What did the doctor say?
Mhm. Mhm.
Those things really make me realize, okay, I'm more than the musician that I've lived in. Because you live in the musical world for so long, you just forget that you're something else to other people.
So true. Oh my. Okay, on that note, because that was a whole word, and you are so right. You are so right. I just want to say thank you again, for sharing as a human being, as a creative, as a musician, as a man of color, sharing and being open with us about your story and your journey. I can't say it enough because I truly do believe that we're all here for one another. We're supposed to help one another. And I
Yes.
do believe that by sharing our individual journeys, somebody can get something positive from it and out of it. So thank you for obliging, accommodating, for being transparent and open, because y'all heard Mark say, look, now I don't want everybody in my business. Now I heard him say it. So, okay. I just want to say thank you for sharing,
Thank
what
you
you
for
did
having me,
share with
Carol. I'm
us.
this. Thank you so
On that note, family, that wraps up tonight's episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Again, I just want to extend my utmost gratitude to all of you family members for spending some time with us. I love your company, and your attention is always welcome. Thank you to our entire WURD family. Okay, everybody, including my alternating co-host Donavan West, who is not with us this evening, and a special thank you, special thank you again to you, Mark. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Family, have a great night, have a great morning, have a great rest of your day, and remember, though, we're all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you. Join us, okay? Make sure you join us again at midnight for another edition of Love and Life on WURD. Have a good night, y'all.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka the Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised in culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place. for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black